Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome to episode number 3 of the Tribe Conscious podcast. So glad that you guys are joining us today for our conversation because it is incredible. Today we're talking about how to step into 2021 for success. Leaders, creatives, in order for us to be at our best, we have to be healthy. And to do that, we have to put in some rhythms and boundaries in our lives to take care of ourselves. So that's what we're talking about today. We hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the Tribe Conscious podcast. Hey, first off, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in. It's meant so much just to be able to hear from you guys and just the feedback. So thank you for everyone who's joining us, old friends, and also new friends. I actually want to give a special shout out to someone. I was looking at kind of all the places that our listeners are listening from. APOC, I don't know if you know this. Everyone pretty much comes from the United States, but there is one other country that is represented. Can you take a guess of what country it is?
I'm going to say Mexico. Please tell me it's Mexico.
Oh, you were close, but we're not going south of the border. We're going north. I want to give a special shout out to our friend listening in Canada. You know who you are. But yeah, Canada, shout out to you guys. But real quick, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead, give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening on a podcast app, be sure to rate, review. It helps us out a ton. And finally, no matter where you're listening, share this with a friend.
Yes.
One, it would mean the world to us, but we really do believe that this podcast has the power to really help people. And that is our goal at the end of the day. We want to send this out to the tribe and make for a better 2021 and beyond, because 2020 was not a great year, but we survived. We made it through it. So APOC, I want to ask you, how are you coming into 2021?
Relieved, excited. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone listening in. We are recording. Our date is January 4th. So we're still in the thick of where you can still tell people Happy New Year. I wonder what the...
And it's not awkward.
Yeah, I wonder when what's the cutoff? Like, we need to ask Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
He'll probably tell us, like...
I feel like it would be after like the first week or something.
Yeah, like once we get through like after like the second Sunday or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure.
I feel like this year... I feel like, honestly, but I feel like this year you get a special pass because coming off of last year, I feel like we can get through, like, we can be in October and be like, bro, Happy New Year. And you're like, yes, thank God.
It is a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I told people, I forgot who I was saying. I was like, yo, 2020 felt like purgatory. It's like, it's like you're just there. It's like, man, somebody get me out of the house. Like, you're literally stuck in this timeline, man. It was tough. Yeah.
I saw a meme. Sorry, I know we're getting a little off topic, but I saw a meme in like October, and I think it was after, like, it was October 8th, and it said, "Congratulations, you survived the first year of October."
Oh man,
it's like, yes, that is how it felt. Can we give a
shout out to like the memes? I mean, I think many of us survived 2020 through memes because it was just, we had some really good memes this past year.
As silly as they are, they're creators. They're doing something that is really helping us get through these times.
For many of us, if not all of us, we coped through memes. So but yeah, I am coming out relieved, excited. I'm seriously very pumped about 2021. I just feel like nobody expected 2020 to turn out the way it did, and you just feel like, I mean, at least for myself, man, I hit some really tough moments where, man, I didn't think I was going to get out of those moments, and yet here we are, January 4th, 2021. We're recording a podcast, a lot of other exciting things happening. Hopefully by our next podcast, we were able to talk more about other things happening in our lives. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm actually, no, not I'm getting, I am in the same place. I am super excited and just really looking forward to this year. Um, I wouldn't say I got to that place up until maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. Like even through December, I was
Yeah.
like, man, I felt like I was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Um, it's been rough, but I think the end of the year really gave me space to slow down and think about and process some of the things that I was experiencing. And I'm kind of mind blown that it took me so long, because it wasn't even just 2020, but I think this last year surfaced things in myself that
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that I
Same here. Yeah.
there were
Same
things
here.
that I talked about,
Hmm.
issues that I was facing, and I was glorifying them.
Hmm.
Come to realize
Hmm.
last year that's like, oh shoot, this is a deep, deep issue that I'm really
Yeah.
facing. So like one of those things specifically was one of the things I realized about myself is like, oh my gosh, I have an addiction to productivity. Like for me, I need to check my boxes. I need to have my list, cross the things off. So by the end of the day, I can step away from my work and feel like, oh, hey, you did something today.
Yeah.
And a lot of days last year, I was not able to do that. And it just left me feeling like, oh, something fell.
Whoa.
It left me feel like absolute garbage. So I had to sit down and process through that at the end of the year.
Well,
And
a
it's
lot
not
of us,
not
I
easy,
mean, at least
not
for
fun.
myself, not what? Not fun.
I
Yes.
said not easy, not
Not
fun.
fun. Yeah. I think like for me, it was, you know, almost the same thing. It's like you hit 2020, you're in 2020 in the beginning, and you're like trying to maximize your life, try to be like this productivity guru. And this is
Yeah.
how I would find myself. Like the morning would start, and like by noon, I would check everything off the box. I'm like, well, what's next? Like I literally,
Hmm.
and I would go days doing that, and you're realizing that um you're left with your thoughts. That's what you're left with. So then it's like
Yeah.
it's a really daunting thing. And I think that in the beginning it felt like torment, but then it became a tool for me to just begin to become a thinker, to meditate more, to honestly even to take naps. Like I've always been like
Hmm.
anti-naps, um because
Yeah.
I felt like it was one of the worst productive things to do in your life. And now I'm realizing, no, like, dude, like this life is, it's meant to be enjoyed. And yeah,
Yeah.
there's things to do. But
You can say that twice. I think the people need to hear that. It's meant to be enjoyed.
yeah,
I got to say that to myself, coming from
yeah.
the person that's like, I was trying to find my joy and my purpose in work. And
Hmm.
the times that I was slowing down where I should have been enjoying life, I felt like trash
Hmm.
because I wasn't being quote unquote productive.
Yeah.
It was a
Well, I
mess.
did find out that
It was a
I'm
mess.
more introverted than I give myself credit for. Um,
Yeah.
I
How'd
will
you
say
figure that out?
2020, I enjoyed just not being around people. Not people, it's
Hmm.
not that people annoy me or I don't like people. It's just like I realize that being alone recharges me.
Yeah.
And I found that very I'm very thankful for that
Yeah.
realization of knowing that it's okay. Like I've always, and we'll talk, man, I always say that we'll talk. No, let's talk about this. Like
Let's talk about
how
it.
2020 made me realize that I don't need to be who people need me to be for them or
Yes.
for their institutions or for whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and for a lot of years, I am a very confident person. I'm a very social person. I'm not shy. So,
Yeah.
I go into a room and I fill the room, and I that's been a gift of mine, and I love that. I'm grateful for that. But I felt like I found my, like you said, I found my value in that, or I found my identity in that. And when that was stripped away, I was realizing that I was being something for someone or for something, and it was sucking the life out of me. I was so exhausted all the time
Yeah.
because I was always having to be on, and being in front of people, around people, like I'm on, and
Hmm.
being, in isolation, separated, and retreating for the sake of reflection and recharging has been tremendous for my mental and spiritual health.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing that I appreciated from 2020.
Yeah, and I've appreciated you kind of leading the way for me for that, and I hope that that you can continue to set that example for the tribe, because you have been a person that has, um, I think, even more so as you've stepped deeper into fatherhood. Like, you are definitely a person that has waved the flag for taking a slower life,
Mhm.
and in slowing down. Doesn't mean we're slowing down our future or
Yeah.
we're less than because but one of the things that I realize in that, because I could get like super salty because I'm working hard, blah, blah, and I can see you like enjoying life and doing all these things. And I'm just like, but the thing that I'm realizing is we need to build in that rest so that
Yeah.
we can go at it for the long term. And one of the things that we're doing, and I've had happen to me for so long, is I've allowed culture to set
Mhm.
those boundaries for me rather than me setting them for myself. And I didn't realize how much harm that was actually doing to
Mhm.
me and doing to my life.
Because
So I've
if we don't,
appreciated getting to see you slow down.
yeah, and I've had to. You said about waving the flag, like I've had to wave it for myself, like to encourage myself, because a lot of the times, like I struggle to believe that, um, and you know, we are either enjoying or enduring our lives through default or design. And
Hmm.
like you're talking about culture, like, you know our culture says, like, we celebrate exhaustion, being overworked.
Yeah.
It's like you're hanging out in the break room, and everybody's talking about how many everybody's trying to one up on who's worked the more hours or who's more tired.
And
And I'm
it's
just like,
literally killing us. It's
yeah, like how
literally
is that
killing us.
how is that awesome? Yeah, like how is that cool? Like I don't understand it, but we have literally all been victimized by that, and it's time
Yeah.
for us to say, no, we're going to design something different. And 2020 showed me that it was time, but 2021, now I am trying to be as intentional as possible to create rhythms that facilitate and habits that facilitate rest, um,
Yeah.
reflection, uh, recharge, like just things that I've needed, because we're in it for
Yeah.
the long haul. Like if you're a creative, um, I don't know, man. Like I don't want to sound so negative right now, but creatives have a very short shelf life. Can we talk about that? Like, I think about some of
Yeah.
the greatest artists that we have been graced to enjoy, and a lot of them have been taken away because um, the world, culture, society was extracting out of them, and they felt that they needed to give everything, and they were giving something they didn't even have anymore, and
Yeah.
it's burnout.
You know what that makes
Mhm.
me think of? It makes me think of like the Disney child stars, like that become
Where are
pop
they
musicians and
now?
all that. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And granted, there are some of them that still are kicking and going, but
yeah.
eh, if not most of them, every single one of them has had to have a moment where they've had
Hmm.
to confront that and make changes in your life, because they are getting asked, so much is being asked of
Yeah,
them. And
they
I
have
just
to
want to
set boundaries.
echo that.
Yeah,
Leave natives. Yeah. leaders, creatives, you have to set boundaries if you're going to be in this for the long run. And these are all things that we're even learning ourselves and we're processing through. But I just want to put that on your radar so that you guys can be wary of that. But as we talk more about rhythms and boundaries, APOC, what are some of the things that maybe you implemented these in previous years, but even as you think about 2021, like what are some of those like practical things that you're doing or you're thinking about to implement as far as habits and rhythms and boundaries?
Being able to take like a solid day. One thing that I'm wanting to do this year is on Friday nights at 7 p.m. I want to be able to turn off my phone and not turn it back on till Saturday, 7 p.m. Or at
how are we
least
going to
like
talk about
social
the
media.
Mandalorian?
Yeah, how are we going to talk about the Mandalorian? But being able to at least turn off or not, like even delete my social media apps from my phone, so that way it's not like even there. So like if someone needs to reach me, they can call me or text me. I know like who does that, right? Who calls? And yet I was 2020. That was a habit that I developed. I just started cold FaceTiming, calling people, and it's been so incredible. Like just like let me just call this person, and people are like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "No, just
want to catch up.
I
just miss your face."
But that's something that I want to start implementing this year. The other thing I want to do things that make me come alive. Some of them is like working out. Like I really do know like taking care of myself physically is something that makes me happy. And when I start neglecting that, it's usually because I'm meeting the needs of other people. And then it's like 2, 3,
it just starts to unveil
days.
all the other unhealthy stuff.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, I haven't worked out. Like those things for me, it's sacred, and it's sacred because I'm alone, like, and I'm being in charge. And whenever I'm not doing that, it messes me up. So it just being able to hold myself accountable to that.
I love that.
Sorry, I would say, go ahead. I wanted to say this too, like that we really we're doomed to repeat the things that we don't recognize. And I think that if you're hearing me, like, honestly, like, I think sometimes as creatives, we have a hard time being honest with ourselves about things that are detrimental. And we don't want to recognize some things that we're just like, no, it's not as bad as it looks, or that relationship isn't as toxic. I'm telling you, like, we're doomed to repeat whatever happened last year. We're doomed to repeat it if we do not recognize it. And the other thing that I would say is, that the famous saying, whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. So I want to be able to stop repeating the things that are bad, and I want to start rewarding myself so that I can repeat the things that are actually good for me. So finding ways, like even trying to find ways, like when I run, like doing, I don't know, like buying myself some shorts, a t-shirt, some running shoes, like things that, like, I'm doing this and I'm buying this and I'm saying like, hey, I'm investing in myself. Like maybe for you that you're listening, it can be like every 3 months, like I'm gonna go and buy myself an equipment that's helping enhance recording stuff for my studio or for my guitar, whatever that looks like. But you're rewarding yourself for doing something, and you're gonna, like, it's a dopamine, like it's going to get repeated, and you're gonna have the best year.
Yes, I love that. One of the things when you're talking about working out, one of the things that, so I'm not really a New Year's resolution person, but I do like doing like New Year's challenges, like short-term ones, 30 days. So the last 2 years I've done a yoga challenge. Y'all can at me if you think yoga is a joke, but I
love yoga.
An intense workout.
I used to at you, and I love it now.
Yo, anyone that's listening that thinks we're a joke, come take a class with me. But I'm getting sidetracked. One of the things I just know so many people come at me for that. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight about working out, and for me, yoga in particular, I realized that it was the only time in a day where I was fully disconnected from electronic devices.
Wow.
The only time within a
Yeah.
day. And you walk away from a session, you're like, man, I feel so good. And you wonder
Mhm.
why. And it's
Yeah.
because I've been able to disconnect. I've been able to renew my mind and bring in new stuff into my
Dude, I
life.
want to stop you real quick. Isn't it crazy that we're able to do that for something like that? But for those goers, like we don't even turn off our phone for church, y'all. Like I'm feeling convicted right now about that. Bro, like, but
Oh my
it's true. Like
gosh.
that's how overly connected and we're overly stimulated
Yeah.
with all this stuff, dude. It's just too much.
Just hit the do not disturb.
Man, it's
D&D
tough.
it.
That's tough.
Um, Earlier when we were chatting, you shared something about friends and
Oh
having
yeah.
people
Yeah.
connected in your
Well, that's
life.
that was the other thing that I would say. Like, yeah, I want to get better at just staying connected with my friends.
Hmm.
Because I'm realizing that like even though I don't love crowds and I'm more introverted than I give myself credit, like I value my friendships and just being more intentional, like building rhythms where I can see, or at least, FaceTime you guys once a week. We can have, I
Yeah.
don't know, a FaceTime, DoorDash, friend date night or something. You know what I mean? Like just being able to do that. But the reason I'm saying that is because we all need friends. We need community, and like nobody needs uh can't do it friends. Like we don't need that. Like, and I'm realizing that, like, I need to be more intentional about making sure that I don't have can't do it friends, but I want to make sure that I do have the can't do it alone friends, like that they remind me, like
Yes.
I don't need friends that tell me like, hey, you can't do it, but I do need friends to tell me, hey, you can't do it alone. And so
Yeah.
knowing that I'm not a silo, like I'm not gonna be just doing my own thing. Like there's times where I'm just like, yo, like when was the last time I called this person? When was the last time I did this? And golly, like everyone listening to me, if you're a creative or a leader, you go through that. Like I go through that so much,
Hmm.
and I hate that I do that. That I just like disconnect myself. So another thing that I'm doing this year is like, if you come to my mind, like if I text you out of the blue because you came to my mind, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna text you and be like, hey, what's up? Thinking about you.
Do it right away. Don't wait.
Yes,
Don't be like,
don't
oh,
leave
I'll
it.
call him later or whatever.
Mhm.
Do it on the spot.
Yeah. And oh, that was the other thing that I was gonna tell you, Zach. That there's 3 questions that I want to ask my friends. You want to hear
Mhm.
it? I
Yeah.
didn't give you that.
No, I haven't
So
heard these. Yeah.
you haven't heard this one. So there's 3 questions that I want to ask all my friends. And if I'm your friend, ask it to me, but steal it, dude. I think this is gonna be
Oh, you're
like,
giving permission?
yes, steal it. When you're checking in on your friends, ask them, how are you? Like,
Yeah.
how are you really?
Yeah.
The
Really, how are
second
you?
thing is, what are you currently passionate about?
Hmm.
Like, just like, hey, what's exciting you? Like, what's going on in your world that's like bringing life to you? Because I want to be asked that, because sometimes like we go through life and we're just going through the motions, and we don't
Yeah.
even realize it until somebody asks us. Because if we ask like, hey, what are you currently working on, or what are you doing? I think that kind of brings like a negative, for me at least, connotation. Like it becomes about work, it becomes about productivity, it becomes
Yeah.
about like those accolades, and like, what are the next benchmark we're hitting. But what are you passionate about? It's more like what's igniting your heart right
Yeah.
now. And then the
The
last one,
the
I want,
spark. What's your spark?
yeah, what's your
Have you
spark?
watched Soul? Disney Pixar's Soul?
i have I have not. No.
Okay, we won't get into that.
No, don't get
You need to
into that.
watch that though.
I know the girls were watching it, and we were in the middle of a board game, and I was kind of
Gotcha.
salty that I was missing it because everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you got to watch that. We might have a little side podcast about that actually, because I think some of the themes in there were really good.
that's yeah, I can't wait to see it. So the last question that I want to ask my friends is, how can I help? Like
Mm,
seriously. So how are you? Like, how are you really? What are you passionate about right now? And then like, how can I help? Like, is there anything I can do for you? Um, like even if it's just to pray, like, what can I do for you, dude?
yeah,
Like, so yeah, that's what I want to do more often. I just want to be a good friend too. So
I love that. All of that is so good. And I just want to
reiterate.
reiterate that we don't need can't do it friends. We need can't do it alone friends. And can't
Yes.
do it alone friends is so important. And I've experienced that in my life. Can't do it alone friends are the reason that this podcast exists.
Yes.
Can't do it alone friends is the reason that we have some other things that we're going to be talking
Mhm.
about here in the very near future that we're super excited about.
Mhm.
But if you have a dream, we've said this on previous podcasts, like you have a dream, like go for it and put around people that are going to support you in that. And if you know that you have a friend that has a dream that hasn't started that thing, call them, FaceTime, and encourage
Yeah.
them to get going on that. 2021, there has never been a better time to launch and start something.
Yeah.
So I think that's so important. Um, some of the things that I'm thinking about coming into the new year, and these may be helpful to you, they might not be helpful to you. Maybe they're things that some of you guys are already doing, but for me they're all rather new. And yeah, I'm saying all this to myself, but the first thing that I'm trying to bring into this new year is I wrote down in my notes, read a book or listen to a podcast. Just learn something. Just learn
Yeah.
something. And I have never in my life enjoyed reading. Never in my life until the end of last year. Like within these last few weeks, I've
Wow.
on Instagram, I asked some friends to recommend some books, and I've been diving into those. Um, one of them I have right here, The Deeply Formed Life. A lot of our
Oh,
conversation has
yes.
really, we're reading this together, and a lot of our conversation has been
It's by a
influenced
good
by
friend of
this.
ours, social media friend.
Oh, I
I
was like,
met
I
him
don't know
at
him, but
a
we can be friends.
yeah, we can be friends. I met him at a master class for social justice 2-3 months ago. Pastor Rich Billodas. If you ever, if there's any chance you listen to this podcast, thank you for this book. It's been life changing.
Yeah, honestly, like
Honestly, yeah. And,
he's
and and the fact that it's coming from a person of color, that's for me, that's been a blessing because everybody talks about like spiritual mental health, but I mean we
mhm,
really see it from a perspective that being Hispanic, you being black, it's a whole different world. But it's been so refreshing to see
yeah,
um a
so
Puerto
refreshing.
Rican telling us like, hey dude, you could do it in
Puerto
the
Rican New
Bronx, dude.
Yorker. Yeah,
Is he in,
I
yeah,
think it was
is
Queens,
he in
right?
yeah, Queens, yeah. So yeah, that I was like, yo, if
Somewhere
he
in
can
Brooklyn.
rest in Brooklyn, Queens, whatever, I'm like, I can do it too.
Yeah,
It's so
that
inspirational.
was huge for me. So I mean, this is obviously it's written by a pastor in New York, but I think even for people that aren't followers of Christ or believers, like there's so much stuff because this was written in response to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff that's talking about just like, man, what are rhythms that I can build into my life so that I'm not exhausted and drained all the time. There's a lot of stuff about racial justice and
Mm-hmm.
reconciliation, internal examination, and so on and so forth. So I think no matter kind of walk of life, be able to find value in that. But
Yeah.
yeah, my first one was just read a book, or I mean, I recommend book because you can really disconnect unless you're reading through an ebook, but continue to learn. There was a statistic that's mind blowing to me. It's 33% of high school grads never read another book the rest of their life.
That's
A
insane.
third of all people that graduate from high school will never read a book. And even beyond that, 42% of college grads will never read another book after college. So
How is the number
people
bigger?
aren't reading.
How is
You're-
so if you go to high school,
I don't even
the
know.
percentage of reading will probably wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read a book, guys.
Read a book.
It'll do good for you. And it's going to bring new ideas into your life. I am personally tired of the same old, same old. Um, so I want to have opportunity for people to speak into my life and bring new things. And with anything in life, you can decide if you want to keep or leave those things and set them aside, but at least they're there. It's a tool that's offered to you. While we're on the point of learning, I'm a big fan of YouTube University as well. One of the things that I'm doing this month is every single day, I'm actually trying. I don't know if I've shared this with you, APOC. I'm trying to, I love watching YouTube, confession,
I'm
but
not a big
I'm,
YouTube guy,
I'm
dude.
trying to,
So
so
you
I'm
gotta
trying to
talk
make
to
it
me.
productive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch a video every single day that's in another language or talks about
Okay.
a different culture.
Okay.
Just to, especially with racial injustice that went on last year, man, I'm trying to open my horizons and be connected to other cultures, especially right now while we can't travel. And that's
Yeah.
been so much fun. I felt like I've gotten to travel to Japan, Indonesia, Mexico, India. So many just incredible stories of things that are going on across the world. So continue your education, guys. The second thing that I'm looking at is creating space to slow down and create stillness. I talked about yoga and how that has been previously, that was the only time that I was really slowing down. But the reality is, our bodies cannot run at the long-term pace that society demands from us.
Yeah.
It, I think one could argue that you could, but at
But
the end
it's
of the day, something's going to be sacrificed, right?
yeah.
You won't be healthy.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I was gonna talk about I don't know, we talked about this before about capacity. If we've talked about that in our
no,
so I've been I'm trying to create either a blog or just I don't know, a class about just the whole idea of capacity. Like we're always talking about
you can do
maximizing
it.
your capacity. And I'm just like, why? Like, why do we want to maximize our capacity? Like in any other thing in life, that is like a no-no. Like you are never going to drive your car at the max speed for a long period of time. So look at a car.
Yeah.
I know my car. I have a Volkswagen Passat. The max speed it says 160. Just because it says 160, like I'm not gonna be hauling through the freeway at 160 all the time. Like I legit am going probably 70 miles an hour. That's probably my average. And I know I need some prayer. I know.
I had a buddy when we were in high school that took me on the highway in his car, and I think we hit 130.
Yo, that's
And I
scary.
am so glad that I'm still
Yeah,
alive.
it's scary.
Sorry, mom. Sorry, dad, if
If
you're
you hear
listening to
that,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It
want
doesn't
it to
make
happen,
sense.
but
So and it
yeah.
okay, so like it's even dangerous.
And the
Like
point I'm getting to is, yeah, it's
it's dangerous.
dangerous.
So it's you're going to ruin the engine of your car if every time you drive your car, but that's its capacity to go 160. So I'm going 160. Your car's gonna last. I don't think it'll last a year. Like I'm not a mechanic, but I'm just letting you know. But
Yeah.
we're building culture to say maximize your capacity. I was like, yo, that does not sound right. We're like we are literally figuratively like cars running our RPMs all the way through maximizing all of our speeds and we're burning out, and there's so much life left, so much experiences for us to experience, but we're just too tired. We're burned out. We can't continue to function. Why? Because we're being maximized. Say no to maximizing, guys. Live a life. So I wrote this down. I wrote down one of my 2021 goals. I stopped doing things like, oh, I want to get in shape, I want to lose weight. That, like, I don't want to do. I want to be. So like one of the things that I decided, like, I want to be in a place, or I want to run at a pace that's healthy for me and for my family. That's my goal this year. I want to live life. I want to run life at a pace that's healthy, not that's productive, not that is like, no, that's healthy, because I'm 33 years old and I got a lot of life to live, and I want to enjoy it. I don't want to get to when I'm older and I'm just like a grumpy person because I feel like everybody's such a juice out of me.
Yeah. And that's been my same desire as well. Cause it's crazy. People would look at me, and one, they might be able to assume that I'm physically fit. I'm a runner. I enjoy and take pride in taking care of my body. But even seeing my lifestyle, people would assume I'm healthy. But the reality is I was not healthy, and I'm working on health. Yes. Yeah. Those are things that I'm working and striving towards, and having to reset, reshift, and refocus. And yeah, it's just wild how that can go under the radar. But one of the things that I'm doing to combat that is this stillness. There were times last year where just moment to moment being with myself was so difficult. And I'm talking minute to minute. Like, not like, oh, I had a rough day or there were moments throughout the day. I'm talking minute to minute. Being with myself, it was so difficult. So one of the things I've had to do is learn to slow down, separate myself from the work, remind me of truths about myself, and know that I'm valuable and worthy before I even create something. Like, even in my stillness, those things are true of me. And I don't know why that's like something that I started dealing with last year. Like, just thinking about my personality and myself, like it seems like something it's one of those things that I never thought that I would have struggled with that. But that kind of leads me into my last thing, of being easy on yourself. Like, I want to be easy on myself in 2020, because most of us in the last year, if not all of us, have experienced immense pain. And we're going to have difficult days ahead of us. Like, it's not a if, it's a when. And I want to be able to be easy on myself when those days come. And just one of the things that you have to realize is we experience hurt. Like, we experience pain. That's an ongoing thing. That takes healing. It takes time. You don't just poke an open wound. So recognizing whether we see those things in us or not, we probably have open wounds that are going to need some time to heal. So, man, be easy on yourself, be easy on your friends, your spouses, relationships,
and some of them just, you feel like you've overcome, or you feel like you're done grieving, but it's healing, grieving, it's not linear. And I realized that in 2020. And I think that coming back to finding your tribe, I had to say to myself, like, man, I need to find people that are going to remind me of that. Because we all talk about, especially in our circle, and we're both Christians, like, we talk about come as you are. We tell people, like, come as you are. But yet when it comes to people that are in leadership or maybe creatives that are serving,
We feel like we can't show up messy.
yeah, because they're like, nah, like there's no room for that. I'm like, yo, like we tell
There
that to
has to
everyone,
be.
but yeah, we don't tell that to ourselves. And I think there's a problem there. I think that some people got to see that. I'm just being honest. Like some people got to see that last year in my life, and they were not okay with it. And I realized, like, no, we don't need people like that. Like I love you guys. Like I'm not gonna hate you, but that's not the kind of friendships. That's not the kind of people we need in our tribe, in our circle.
Yeah.
I needed somebody to be easy on me, to say no, like, dude, you're not what you do, man. There's more to you than that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're here for you. Like, yeah, like, how are you? How can I help? Like, what are you passionate right now? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Um,
We're
and
going to
and
keep
I
saying it.
realized, like,
Normalize the struggle.
yeah, we have to. So, yeah, be easy on yourself. I love that. That's such a great reminder.
Yeah. Um, Before we close out, is there any last things that you want to share?
Nah, man, we were good. This was a good one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do want to say one last thing
All right.
to the tribe and everyone out there. I do believe that for all of us, that life can be different than how it was before. You may be dealing with things, you may be struggling. Life can be different than how it was before. We believe that. We believe that's true of you, and we believe in you. We believe in the things that you want to chase after and make happen this year. And know that we're on your team. We're here to support you. We want to see those things happen. So we want to continue to connect with you guys and get to know you. But also the other thing that I want to share is that it's going to take work.
Yes.
Change is not comfortable. Um, and I love the saying that change begins when we get to the end of ourselves. And I always think about in my running and in my workouts, whenever I'm running and my heart rate is like zone
Uh,
4, beating off the charts, I tell myself, even in those hard moments, I tell myself, this is where the workout begins.
yeah.
And that's true of our lives. When we get to the hard points, it's the opportunity for us to step out of our comfort and to embrace change. And it's not going to be easy, but you have to decide to fight if you're going to experience new things in your life. You can't hold
Mhm.
on to the old. I don't want the old, because the old Zach was unhealthy Zach. I don't want that. And I'm sure you can go back and listen to even these last two podcasts and just hear the difference.
Oh yeah.
Because I woke up and I said I want to decide to fight, so I'm going to
Yeah.
fight, and it's not
Hmm.
easy, but we're going to do that. So I wanted to share that. In closing, I want to ask you guys, what's the thing that you're building or implementing, you're wanting to implement into your life in 2020? We'll have a post that you can share that on Instagram, or if you're watching on YouTube, comment that down below. But we want to hear, what are the things that you guys are doing this year? What are you implementing into your lives in 2021? But yeah, guys, super excited to hear from you guys and to walk through 2021 with you. Thank you so much for joining us and listening. We love you guys. And like
Cheers.
always,
Yeah,
until
everyone.
next time.
Yes.